Hi everyone, I'm Victoria Main. We're back here with another episode of TV and Film Focus, and I'm here today with my guest Keely Gelineau. Keely and I were in the film and media program up at Lake Superior College together. Keely was just very involved with the Catalyst Project and Festival. So we're going to chat about some film and TV stuff. So hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Keely.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with talking about your experience at Catalyst.
Okay.
Since we just got done with that.
Sure.
So tell me what your goals were, and I know you were involved with some interviews and some media stuff there.
Yes. So I was originally contracted to do the production guide. So we actually got an economic development grant to work with local businesses. So I kind of canvassed the whole northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, Superior, Wisconsin type area with the rest of our team. And we knocked on doors, we called, we emailed, we went and met, we had chamber meetings with all the different areas to get local businesses on board. So the point of the production guide was to include local businesses to be able to work on a TV or film set. So now that we've created kind of a healthy environment for TV and film productions to come and film here, now we need all the vendors and crew to be able to support that. So we want to use local as much as we possibly can. So, an electrician can be an electrician on set, a hairstylist can be included. So really we can utilize the local businesses as much as humanly possible. So that was kind of my role. And then when it came to the festival, I was the executive producer and I co-produced with the Arrowhead Filmmakers Association to conduct interviews with the content creators. That was so much fun. We probably did close to 50 interviews, right around 50 interviews, I would say, with all these content creators, and then to see them, to hear about their stories, where their stories came from, what the motivation behind it was, what their next projects are, where they foresee their projects going, and then to see them win the awards at the end of the week was really pretty amazing.
That's great. I stopped into the media lounge there a couple times, and it looked like a great place to hang out. And I know you guys are working hard.
Yes.
So let's talk a little. You're a Duluth native.
I am born and raised.
So let's talk a little bit about your company, Polished Perception. So
Sure.
tell folks what that's
So,
about.
I was a professional actress for many years, and it was very difficult living and working from here. I was always traveling all the time, and I have 3 young kids, so it was very difficult to be on the road all the time. So once I was able to learn enough about the industry, I was always the annoying actress on set, kind of going to the people behind the camera, because if you grow up in front of the camera, you really don't know what anybody does behind the camera. So I was that actress on set who would go up to the camera guy or sound guy going, what do you do? Like, what did you go to school for? And I kind of learned the industry a little bit from more of a wider perspective, I guess, than strictly being in front of the camera. I spent about 5 years doing that, and I have a business background, so I really missed running and owning and operating a business while I was acting professionally. So it was kind of a natural jump to become a producer. It was the way I would solve a problem of having to travel all the time. I could start producing my own content from Duluth or from the Twin Cities area. So that's how I got into the producing side of things. So my company, we're a production company. I also do business consulting since I have a business background. I specialize in entertainment, but I work in all industries. And right now I'm currently building a talent base to launch a talent agency under that Polished Perception umbrella. So hopefully by next year I'll have enough of my talent grown and then we can launch the agency. But pretty much what I do is I work with businesses producing their content, whether it's television commercials, social media videos, stuff for their websites, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Although I am working on a couple TV shows too.
Okay. So Polished Perception, I assume, is in the production guide.
Yes.
So you'll be available to help when companies come to town and are
Absolutely.
looking to shoot stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
So talk a little bit about what some of your, you're based in Duluth and your company's here. So talk a little bit about what your long-term goals are with the company.
Well, I think everybody has a day job. So TV commercials, that kind of thing, what I was just saying, is kind of my bread and butter. But my long-term goals is to kind of start toning down all those types of projects, although I'm hoping to have it set up enough where it can still operate doing that. But I really want to begin focusing on just my 2 TV shows that I'm producing right now. So those are my long-term goals. They are in pre-production right now. I have pre-production complete on one of the shows. The other one is still being written and edited and that kind of thing. I have multiple writers helping me work on this because everything's a team project.
Right.
And so I'm hoping to get those into production. I'm doing one at a time. I'm packaging it to have my general and my pitch deck and all of that and try to sell it right away. I don't know if I'll actually produce it myself, rather than just be a creator and consultant on both the shows. But
So can you tell what the shows are about, kind of generally? Or?
I can talk about one of them. It is called Starfish. My mom actually named it, which is kind of cool. Growing up in Minnesota, I love fishing. I never really knew what I was doing fishing. I kind of taught myself, 2 of my children are boys, and I'm like, oh yeah, they got to learn how to fish, you know? And so we have been learning to fish over the last, 8 years together. I think we've caught 3 fish in 8 years, but we're getting better. And I love it. It's so much fun for me and my children. It's something that I'm just really passionate about. And then I was traveling to Florida a lot, and that was another passion of mine, as I love the sunshine and the water and all of that. But what I noticed when I was going down on my multiple trips to Florida is how damaged everything was from the hurricane ravaged areas. So I wanted to figure out a way that I could help the communities down there. And so I came up with this concept for a show that I would go into these hurricane beaten areas and I would bring a celebrity and their biggest fan, and we'd surprise the fan with a celebrity, and we would put them kind of in these off the beaten path, not resort, but more mom and pop type hotel type areas. And then I would work with these smaller charter fishing companies, because there are millions of charter fishing companies down in Florida, and nobody's really doing so well. There's a lot of people who really have lost a lot over the years to these hurricanes and such. So it was my goal to be able to bring the celebrities and their fans and go on these charter fishing adventures. So we'd go fish for shark and sailfish and mahi or whatever we're going for. But the fun part of it is that none of us really know what we're doing. So it's kind of like a comedy, but yet the goal is to raise money for charity. So we'll have ways that we can, people can call in and donate and all of that throughout the show, and you can nominate people to be on the show. And we, so it's just kind of us going on these adventures together, not knowing what we're doing and just having a great time. And then in turn, it's kind of like advertising for these places that have really lost a lot. So
it's kind of a reality show, but you've got kind of a little, charity twist in there where folks can give to a cause, and a lot of those folks definitely need help for sure.
Absolutely. And then it kind of morphed from there too. I had friends from all over the world writing to me saying, hey, how about down in South Asia, like we're having issues over here. So, and then, I'm from Minnesota, so why wouldn't I want to go on some, musky fishing?
Yeah.
I'm sure it can be just as comical, maybe not as exciting, but just as comical, or ice fishing. That's going to be a fun one. Do that. So it kind of morphed in to something that I just wanted to help down in that area to kind of all over the country and all over the world. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have ideas for what some of your other shows are going to be, or is it like an idea factory over at your business?
No. And strictly with my company, we focus on business production. The TV shows are kind of my long-term goals, even though I'm really going to focus on those in the next few years. However, it's completely focused on business. The other show that I am doing, like I mentioned earlier, might not produce it myself. I think it's something that I'm just going to kind of package and sell, and that one I can't talk about right now.
Okay. Top
But
secret.
it's a comedy drama. So
Okay. So, and that's more of a narrative kind of thing. That's a scripted
Yes.
rather than a reality
Yes,
show. Okay.
exactly.
Okay. So, talk a little bit now. You know, we were both at Catalyst this week, which was fabulous. So, I found it really inspiring and really motivating being there. So, you know, what's kind of your afterglow out of that? You know, how did you come out of that feeling?
Well, so I wasn't originally supposed to work on the festival, but I kind of figured I would be tied in somewhere. My plan was to attend a lot of the events and really soak up as much knowledge as I possibly could, because for me, this is like a dream come true. That Catalyst has moved to my hometown. You know, what I mentioned earlier, when I was traveling all the time, and it was really difficult to work in my industry here. So the fact that we just had the festival in Duluth, Minnesota was absolutely amazing to me. So besides the afterglow of just, you know, the pure shock that a dream for me has arrived here on my doorstep, I would have to say they gave me some responsibility that I wasn't anticipating, and it was so much fun to be able to produce these events, direct the interviews and all of that, and really just the networking and the meeting of all these amazing people. My boyfriend actually was watching me do some work, and his comment was, wow, everybody's so happy in this industry. Like, it was just such a different world for him to be able to see something like that. And it's true, you know, everybody that you get to work with is creative. They're there, well, they accomplished even being at the festival. So they are so inspiring. And to be able to see them take, you know, something that was just once an idea in their mind and actually follow through to create this content, and now being able to pitch or sell this content is so inspiring.
Yeah.
So inspiring. So.
Well, you know, even though maybe you weren't expecting to be doing the media thing like you were 24/7, just about, you know, it's cool that you stepped up. You did a great job by all accounts. So yay.
Thank you.
And I feel like Duluth really did a great job. I heard a lot of comments about how friendly folks were and all that, you know.
Yes.
People were super helpful, and then we had the little construction thing, which wasn't the prettiest.
But you know what? That's one of the things that I would say when I was conducting the interviews, is I would kind of end with, you know, thank you for coming to Duluth. I apologize for the road construction. And every single person said, no, it was great. It kind of added something to it.
Oh, that's great.
So, I mean, next year it'll be a lot simpler to kind of get from point A to point B. But I think once people got in the groove of it, they didn't even mind. It was, so many people were out there taking pictures of the construction. I thought it was so funny. But yeah, everybody seemed okay with it. And they were so happy to just meet all the locals. And they said that they have never had such a warm welcome before, and everybody's so nice.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, I think Duluth had a good week. I really do. It was great. Okay, so you know, you're a lot like me in some ways. You know, when there's knowledge to be got, I want to get it. You know,
Absolutely.
And I certainly feel like I learned a lot at Catalyst. And you and I, of course, met originally in the film and media program at Lake Superior College. So I know you have future educational plans to continue to round out your kind of business life.
Yes.
So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
So I studied media and production, and that's where we met. But I also have studied business. Once I finish my bachelor's in business, I plan on going to law school. So we'll see how all this goes. Things change all the time. But what I really have an interest in is, I think because of my business background and just I have a very analytical mind, and I love law. I've been studying like civil law for a very long time. And so, for whatever reason, I just feel really empowered when I understand law. And so I'll go and sit in some of the court cases at the courthouse and just kind of soak up that knowledge a little bit. But one thing that I've really noticed working in entertainment is so many people are so creative. So you're working with a lot of artists, not all artists are very analytical or have that business type mind.
Right.
So I really want to help people, cross the T's and dot the I's. And so contracts are kind of my thing. And I think part of that comes from early in my career when I was, just acting, and I was a new actress and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I negotiated my own contracts. And then once I started working, I realized that I really got the short end of the deal here. And so I felt very taken advantage of. And I just want to help people really round out their deals so everything's fair. So I'm very passionate about that. So I plan on attending law school and then becoming an entertainment attorney.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I can certainly think of a lot of people who could use a little help in that regard.
There aren't too many in Minnesota. I actually got to go down to the MBA, I think it's called Minnesota Bar Association, and meet with a bunch of the attorneys and kind of explain the TV and film industry a little bit. Because there aren't a whole lot of attorneys that really understand
That's
that.
true.
So I want to take my entertainment background and marry it into the business and the law. So
Well, and I think it's great because you're right. I think a lot of performers are taken advantage of in that way because they don't really know that world. And I'm certainly, I'd have to say I'm probably one of them,
Right.
at least to some degree. I mean, it's very easy to sort of not get a good deal
Absolutely.
when you're reading over a contract, and it really doesn't mean much
Right.
to you, and you're like, sure, okay, I'm just delighted I get to do this film, or
that's exactly it. So many people are, just so excited to be able to participate in our industry.
Right.
So a lot of people, and I think there's a point too, kind of early in your career, you have to do stuff to learn,
Sure.
and then you get to learn, and then your value goes up. So, being able to kind of see that that bridge and where you should know your value and be able to fight for it, or put forth
yeah.
a fair deal. So
Yeah, I think that's really important,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really glad that that you want to be a local person who does that.
Right.
That helps
well,
people
and I
with
think
that.
it'll help with once I get the talent agency launched too. Then I can really be able to negotiate between my talent and then the clients.
Right.
So
Yeah, you're almost representing people in that way, which
Absolutely.
I think is really needed.
yeah,
So that's
and,
awesome.
And I've always had really amazing agents and worked with great agencies, but there's a lot of agents that are kind of in it for themselves too. So you definitely have to know your value.
You do run across the odd shyster
Mm-hmm.
in our business.
Yes.
Okay, so this week, so many of the Duluth folks in the film and TV community, Arrowhead Filmmakers Association and stuff, they were very involved. Talk a little bit about how do you see the Duluth creative community 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road? I mean, where are we going here?
Well,
Ideally.
Right. Well, I think for sure there's going to be a lot more production. I mean, we already have a lot of production around here, and most people don't even notice what's going on, being filmed up on the range, or a few projects right around here. I mean, there's constantly stuff that is being produced right now.
Yeah.
Actually, Minnesota was the 4th largest market in production for a long time, which I think that may have shifted around a little bit with Atlanta and such, but now that we have created these tax incentives and things are only going to get better each year too, and then with Catalyst being here, there are so many filmmakers or content creators that are like, yeah, we're filming here. And like I mentioned earlier, we want to utilize as much local talent, local creatives as humanly possible.
Sure.
It just, from a logistics point of view, it just makes sense. When I was looking at, when I was doing pre-production for Starfish down in Florida, as much as I wanted to bring all my Minnesota people here, it made more sense to look around locally. So that's what I foresee here. I mean, with the Arrowhead Filmmakers Association kind of gathering everybody into one space, I think that is such a valuable tool for producers that are coming into the area. And not only projects coming into the area, but I think it's been very inspiring to have, or to creators here locally,
Oh, for sure.
knowing that they have the ability, like it's a real tangible thing that they can produce something here
Yeah.
and, you know, pitch it to the major networks.
Yeah.
So I think the opportunity is just amazing. Actually, and just even before Catalyst had its festival, there was such a buzz around. Like every single person I knew now had a TV show that they were creating.
Yeah.
Which I never, like, I used to think I was the only actress and producer in TV, anyways, in Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's so exciting. It's
Yeah.
so much fun to see how people are just kind of taking the reins and actually
Oh, yeah.
producing their own stuff.
Oh, definitely inspiring for the local community for
Yeah.
sure. You know, everybody had all week long. I just heard about,
Right.
you know, project after project.
Right, and everybody can be involved. You know, if there are the local groups, you know, people who haven't been connected with the Arrowhead Filmmakers Association. Even if you're not a filmmaker, but you want to get involved somehow, connect with them.
Yeah.
Come to the meetings and just be a part of it. Just sit and listen. Excuse me, and see how you can be
Yeah.
involved.
So let me ask you, in the course of your, I know you interviewed a ton of people over the course of the festival. Did people sound like they were seeing the locations around town and looking at those,
yeah.
going, you know, seeing the potential to shoot there?
Oh, definitely. Yes, they really, excuse me, I feel like I'm going to cough again. Yeah, I talked to a lot of them about that, and they were very, very excited. And mostly because, not necessarily excuse me. I mean, we have beautiful locations, absolutely beautiful locations. But the biggest comments I was hearing was not necessarily about the locations, but the people. You know, people want to work with people that they enjoy. And they felt so welcomed when they came to our city that they're like, yes, we're coming back. Yes, this is, you know, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it here.
Nice.
To have the support of the community and the businesses and, you know, the mayor and all that, that's kind of a rare thing in other parts of the country. So if we make it just so easy and create this healthy environment for them to come, they'll all be here.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, is there anything else you want to talk about that I haven't covered? You feel like, did I miss anything? Any stuff you're doing?
No, you kind of covered everything. I do have my hands in a few other businesses too, but I'm trying to kind of even things out a little bit and focus just on these TV shows and wrap up the production projects that I have going on. But geez, not a whole lot. I did think of something and then it just escaped my mind.
I'm familiar with that one. Well, I do have one more question for
Yes.
you. So it sounds like a lot of what you're doing is kind of on the TV production side. Do you have any interest in producing features or like web content or any of
You know,
that?
the reason I have not produced a feature yet, well, I have been looking for the perfect script. So I have been working with some writers, some script writers. I've been reading some materials. I will produce a feature eventually. But the reason I haven't is because I have a very short attention span. And I like diverse projects. I like to be able to hop from one thing to another. And that's why I'm unsure if I'll even commit to producing these TV shows if they get accepted or sold, because I don't want to spend 10 years on one TV show.
Sure.
Then it turns into a grind. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I like that, you know, that change. However, I'm open to it, but I see myself at the end of the day probably producing one feature a year if possible, to do it that way. And then I get a nice little change. So maybe eventually, but it's going to be the perfect script.
I can see why with your, you know, if you like the variety of projects, that in a lot of ways TV is a great fit because that episodic structure sort of
Exactly.
allows you to do different things, you know, every
Exactly.
time. So
Yeah.
it gives a lot of variety. So.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks, Keely girl.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's all for this time. We're going to wrap it up, and we'll see you next time on TV and Film Focus.